Hello from Media Blogs. In previous tutorial, I have shown that how we can embed Google SignIn in Android app. So I have made a demo app to show that how to embed Google SignIn. But in this tutorial, I will make a real app to embed Google login. So I have generated configuration file from Google Developer Console. If you don't know how to generate this, then watch my previous video of part 1. Okay, so create a project. Google login. I'm choosing empty activity. Okay, so now I'm going to copy that configuration file in my project. The project is on desktop as Google login. Open it, and inside app folder I will copy that file. So now we need to add compile time dependency. First of all, we need to add this class path in project build.gradle. There are two build.gradle file. One is project and the second one is of module. So open project, and below this add that class path. Now open build.gradle from module and add this compile time dependency. And we also need to use plugin because we are going to use our configuration file. So this should be outside that dependency. So you can add here or you can add here. Okay, so now click on synchronize now or click on that synchronize button. Okay, so Google Play services and our configuration file is loaded in our app project. So in this tutorial, I will display login button on main activity, and when user click on that button after successful, he will redirect to new activity, and there we will show his profile picture, his name, his email ID and gender also. And if login failed, then we will show a toast saying login failed. Okay, so in main activity, just display a sign in button. Give it an ID. And display in center of. So this will display in center of this screen. So So find out that button in main activity .java class. If you don't know why I am using this, then watch my previous video part 2. Okay, so initialize Google sign-in options. It requires a parameter as Google sign-in option. Default sign-in. Because we are using default parameters, we are not generating our own sign-in button. We are going to display some information of user, so we need to request for them, like request email and request profile. And now build. And same way initialize Google API client. It requires context. Enable auto manage, so this will manage automatically. It requires fragment activity, and fragment activity is inside app compact activity, so we don't need to initialize fragment activity, so we can pass this here. And the next is we need to pass on connection failed listener, so we can make anonymous interface here, or we can simply implement here on connection failed listener. So we need to implement its methods. There is one method on connection failed, so implement it. So pass this here. Now add API. We need to pass API options, which is inside authentication class auth.google sign-in API. The second parameter is Google sign-in option, which we have created here. So pass that here. And build. But we want to display user's gender, so we need to access one more API for his profile. So add API. Which is inside plus class, but plus class is not available because we need to compile plus dependency here. So copy this compile time dependency in build.gradle of module. And sync now. Okay, so done now. For authentication class, we have added that compile time dependency, which is inside Google play-services-auth. And for plus, same way we have added Google Play Services, which having plus. So now we can access that plus class here plus.api. So this plus have API for users' personal information like profile. Okay, so find out that button. Typecast it to sign in button. Now set size. Use any constant inside that class. So in previous video I have used size standard. So in this I will use size icon only. And set scope, which is inside Google sign-in options. Get scope array. Okay, so now we will handle that button's click by using set on click listener and implement on click interface. So when that button is clicked, that method will fire on click. So in that method we will make an intent which will display Google sign-in window. So when user sign in to that window, that intent returns some value to our main activity. So create an intent which is inside auth.google sign-in API dot get sign-in API, and it requires Google API client. So pass that Google API client here and start activity for result, not start activity only, because we want to get some value from that intent. So pass intent here, which is sign in, and it requires a request code because we are going to fetch value from that intent. So I'm going to create a constant request code login and giving it value 10 and pass this. Okay, so this part is done now. So when user successfully log into that intent, then user will redirect to main activity. So there is a method in main activity on activity result. This method handle data from that intent. There are some parameters: request code, result code, and data. That code are just to check that if it's sending correct data or not. So we will check if its request code match with our request code. If both are same, this means it's returning some value to us. So check here, request code is equal to request code login, then do something else, give us an error by showing as a text main activity dot this login failed toast dot length short. Okay, we will fetch value from that intent, which will store in Google sign-in result. Google sign-in result is equal to authentication dot Google sign-in API dot get sign in result from intent, and it requires intent, which is here that data. And we will fetch account from that result. Get sign in account, and we will fetch profile also. Okay, so this account will give only few values. As you can check that there is photo URL, display name, email, ID token, that's it. But we want to display gender also, so we need to create a profile. So create a profile which is from that API, which is plus API. So plus dot people API dot get current person. So it requires Google Client API, so pass that. So there is something, okay, that is wrong import. So now we can get gender from that profile, get current location, get gender, get language, get birthday, get about me, get range, and there are several things in that profile. So create some strings like name, email, gender, and DP URL. Okay, so name is equal to account dot get display name, email is equal to account dot get email, gender, so that profile dot get gender return integer 0 or 1, 0 for male, 1 for female. So we will check its value and convert it to string. So if profile dot get gender is equal to 0, then gender is equal to male, if profile dot get gender is equal to 1, then gender is equal to female. I'm not using else here because if it returns some error, so this will get that values. So I am using 1 here to compare and initialize that strings as a null value. Okay, so now get profile pictures URI, dp URI is equal to account dot get photo URL dot toString. But we can get some exception if there is no profile picture or no gender specified. So we will do this inside try catch block. So make a try catch block and paste this inside try. So if any exception happens, then this will handle. So catch this exception and make a toast. We will display that exception. Okay, so now we have these values, so pass them to new activity. So first of all, create new activity